In today's world, wars aren't just fought on the ground. The skies have become a battleground of their own, filled with high-speed missiles, stealth drones, and hypersonic threats that strike with little to no warning. Nations can no longer rely on radar operators and manual protocols alone. They need real-time eyes, instant reflexes, and intelligent systems that never sleep. For a country like India, facing threats on multiple fronts, the question is no longer whether we can defend our skies. It's whether we can do it faster, smarter, and better than the enemy. Every second counts when the threat comes from 20 kilometers above ground and closes in at twice the speed of sound. A gap of even 5 seconds could be the difference between an intercepted warhead and a catastrophic hit. As recent global conflicts have shown, air superiority isn't just about fighter jets. It's about data, automation, and rapid response systems. India's answer to this challenge isn't imported. It's homegrown, designed, developed, and deployed by Indians. It's called Akashteer, the digital brain of India's air defense grid. And this is its story. Akashteer wasn't built in a day. It's the result of years of collaboration, vision, and urgency. For decades, India relied on patchwork radar systems and manual reporting chains inherited from Cold War doctrines. But as threats evolved, especially with Pakistan's increasing use of drones and China's electronic warfare capabilities, it became clear that we needed more than just missiles. We needed a brain that could manage the battlefield in the sky. That shift began under India's Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative, an ambitious national mission to build self-reliance in defense technologies. The Ministry of Defense gave the go-ahead. Bharat Electronics Limited, or BL, took the lead. DRDO brought in its sensor fusion expertise. ISRO helped with satellite integration. Together, they didn't just build a radar, they built a command nerve center that can scan, decide, and react in under seconds. The project was codenamed Akashteer, which in Sanskrit means sky arrow. But its function is closer to that of a guardian, one that can see the invisible, track the untrackable, and kill the unstoppable. So what exactly makes Akashteer special? It's not a missile, not a radar, and not a weapon system on its own. Akashteer is the brain that ties everything together. It sits at the center of India's air defense ecosystem and does the thinking for every radar, every interceptor, every response unit across the battlefield. Let's start with its first strength, sensor fusion. Akashteer takes inputs from multiple sources: 3D tactical control radars, low-level lightweight radars, electro-optical sensors, and even weapon system radars, and fuses them into one single coherent air picture. No clutter, no duplication, just pure situational clarity. Second, it's powered by artificial intelligence. This isn't science fiction, it's real-time decision-making. Akashteer can evaluate hundreds of aerial objects, distinguish between friendly aircraft, civilian flights, enemy drones, and missiles, and then prioritize the threat in milliseconds. Human operators don't need to guess. They're simply told what to target, when, and how. Third, it's mobile and modular. Mounted on trucks, it can be deployed at a border outpost 1 week and repositioned to a desert or mountain sector the next. And its software architecture allows plug-and-play additions, meaning India can keep upgrading it without rebuilding the whole system. And finally, it's built to resist electronic warfare. With hardened encryption, anti-jamming protocols, and cyber resilience, Akashteer is as hard to blind as it is to hack. It doesn't just see threats, it survives them. Let's walk through a real-time scenario. Imagine it's 2:43 a.m. at an Indian forward airbase. A hostile drone swarm is launched from across the border. Small, low-flying, radar-evading machines programmed to target fuel dumps and radar stations. Within seconds, one of India's low-level lightweight radars picks up a faint trace. The signal is weak, possibly a bird or a drone. That data is sent to Akashteer. Simultaneously, an electro-optical sensor captures a flash of heat over the same grid zone. Now, 2 data points correlate. Akashteer fuses the inputs, runs its classification algorithm, and tags the object as hostile, unmanned aerial vehicle. But it doesn't stop there. Akashteer instantly checks the drone's speed, altitude, and trajectory, runs a predictive model on where it will be in 15 seconds, and alerts the closest quick-reaction surface-to-air missile unit. Without a single human command, the Cursum launcher is prepared, target lock is established, and the drone is destroyed mid-air, before it even reaches the outer perimeter. All of this, detection, classification, decision-making, and neutralization, takes less than 10 seconds. That's not just fast. That's unbeatable. That's the power of Akashteer. It doesn't wait for orders. It gives them. In May 2025, following the brutal Pahalgam terror attacks, India launched Operation Sindoor, precision airstrikes targeting key ISI-linked nodes and terrorist infrastructure across Pakistan-occupied territory. The strikes were swift, calculated, and devastating. But retaliation was expected, and that's when Akashteer took center stage. As Indian jets returned to base, reports emerged of enemy drone launches and long-range rocket artillery targeting military zones in Punjab and Jammu. This wasn't random. It was a coordinated attempt to hit back, while India's air response teams were still regrouping. But Akashteer was already awake. Across multiple sectors, Akashteer had been deployed just hours earlier in anticipation. The system detected 11 incoming threats, 5 low-flying drones, 4 GPS-guided rockets, and 2 decoys mimicking aircraft transponders. In less than a minute, Akashteer flagged their trajectories, isolated the real threats from the fakes, and relayed engagement commands to QRSAM and Akash missile batteries. Every single threat was neutralized. Not one breached the outer defense ring, no casualties, no infrastructure damage, just a clean sweep. And the best part? The whole sequence was fully automated, with human operators supervising, not reacting. This was India's first fully digitized air defense combat response, and Akashteer passed with flying colors. In a world where threats are getting smaller, faster, and smarter, India's response hasn't been to shout louder or spend bigger. It's been to think sharper. Akashteer is the embodiment of that philosophy, a defense system that doesn't just defend, but transforms the very nature of how defense works. What began as a domestic project has now become a symbol of what's possible when a country stops depending on imports and starts trusting its own innovation. Akashteer isn't just protecting airspace, it's reshaping military doctrine. It shows that automation and AI aren't luxuries anymore. They're necessities, and India didn't wait for a Western contractor to figure it out. We built it here, we deployed it here, and we proved it here. From the deserts of Rajasthan to the forests of the northeast, from the missile bases of the south to the icy forward posts in Ladakh, Akashteer watches silently. No headlines, no applause, just pure vigilance, day in, day out. This is more than a system. It's a declaration that India is ready, not just to defend itself, but to lead in the age of intelligent warfare.